It's my absolute pleasure to welcome Mehran Sorourian, who you just saw a few minutes ago, who's joining us all the way from San Diego, bright and early at 7 in the morning. Mehran and I met through our lovely friend Kim Menninger, who I met through Tiffany, so full circle. And Mehran and I met on LinkedIn through her powerful work. Mehran wears many hats, and one of which is a career and communication coach specializing in immigrants and women and other minorities. Mehran is also the host of this wonderful podcast called Empowering Conversations. We'll be plugging in the links to that. So this is another podcast that, especially those of us that speak English as a second or third language, that have stories of our own coming to this country as immigrants, you will absolutely resonate with that. Mehran comes from a very hierarchical, high context culture where women are expected to follow certain perform certain roles and follow certain rules, if you will, of engagement within the society. And then having to move here to the US as an accompanying spouse several years ago, it's an absolutely phenomenal story of reinvention. To me, Mehran is reinvention personified. And when Mehran and I met, and she graciously invited me to be on her podcast, I think we talked for hours because there are so many intersections we uncovered. So when we were planning this conference, it was a no-brainer for us to have someone like Mehran talk to us, inspire us with her own story of how she so powerfully and impactfully has pivoted her career, and now is her focus in her career is to be in service of others who have had the same journey, same experience, so that they are all set up for success. So with that, thank you so much, Mehran, and over to you.
Thank you for this very kind introduction. This is very generous. I'm really excited to be here, and thank you again, Meenakshi and Tiffany, for this opportunity. I love supporting women and minorities, just my deepest passion, and you'll know why and what you can do during my talk today. The topic or the title of my talk is Moving Beyond Kitchen Tables. Many immigrant women, like myself, came to this country because of our spouses, our children. We shoulder many responsibilities, but at the end, we find ourselves chained to a kitchen table. We attend the schools that we do when they align with our spouse's career path. We fight to apply for our dream program. We fight for a career promotion and growth opportunities. Unfortunately, we're not supported. Not from our families, not from our culture, and sadly enough, not from majority of the society here. It's as if the kitchen table is the only table at which we are allowed to sit at. And even there, we're expected to be the last one seated. But the kitchen table feels too small, especially after shouldering all the responsibilities we do. After supporting our husbands in building their dream careers here, after finding out about our potential, and after tasting independence. As an immigrant woman, I thought the doors of opportunity would open for me as they did for my husband. That in this land of opportunity and equality, none of the limitations present in my home country would apply to me anymore. Sadly, that wasn't the case. After I did my education and started working, I realized that I was paid less than many others with the same level of experience and education. Sometimes up to 20% less. 20%. I'm sure that happened to you. Has that? If so, I want you to think about how did that make you feel about your sense of dignity and worth. According to research, women in US earn 16% less than men. And for immigrant women, the pay gap is 21% on average. But personally, I think this is a generous statistic because we know women are usually working in many low-paying jobs. During promotions, we realize that we have to work harder and longer to prove ourselves. According to research, women in general are viewed riskier in leadership positions. Had there been stats on immigrant women, I'm sure it would have been worse. Like me, I'm sure you heard, we need to speak up. We need to be more confident. We need to negotiate more. We're not the quiet girls. We're not, because if we were, we would have been in our kitchen tables. Most of us tried to speak up. Most of us tried to be confident in a room full of men. But we're not supported. When we try to speak up, regardless of our origin, we women are labeled sensitive, angry, aggressive, even bitchy. We're expected to sacrifice our life to fit one mold, the mold of this caring, loving, nurturing mother for our sons and daughters and everyone else in a room. While the system has many flaws that you and I need to tackle, I've learned that our cultures can hurt us even more if we are not aware. For example, in Iran, where I was born and raised, women have half the rights that men have. Women need their husband's permission to work, get a passport, leave the country, and they are paid 40 to 50% less. Being raised in that culture does something to you. It puts you in a position where you always feel like you are less than. Add hierarchy to the mix, and what would tolerate almost any treatment, any abuse, personal and professional. Statistics are there. 35% of women are victims of domestic partner abuse. 35%, that's 1 in 3. And an immigrant woman, as an immigrant woman, we have a good share of that. In some communities, up to 60% of women are victims of domestic abuse. And that's based on the reports. We know in many cultures, according to their beliefs, they try to save face or they don't know. So the statistics can be even higher. So imagine, if we tolerate abuse at home, don't you think we accept that at work? If we are conditioned to believe that we need to be quiet at home, do you think we would speak up against inequalities, inequities at workplace? Do you think we see ourselves as future leaders? No, and hell no. Unfortunately, given the disproportionate impact of the pandemic on women and immigrant women, I know many of us are right now sitting at their kitchen tables, wondering if they are good enough, if they are worthy. And that's sad. In this system, you could throw all the confidence quote at them, but they will always remain chained to that kitchen table. This begs for a solution. The question is, what can we do? What can you and I do? Not as an immigrant woman or non-immigrant woman, no. As a community of women, what can we do together? I'll tell you. 1, get involved. Representation matters. Currently, I'm leading HR leaders in San Diego in terms of supporting them in understanding diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. With our team, we are trying to improve the conditions for minorities. You can do that too. You can seek bigger tables too. In getting to those tables, drag a chair if you must. Build your own if you need to. Stand by the table until you are granted a chair. But please, never pull a chair from another woman. Never sit in a straw chair. Never sit in one that is broken or doesn't have a solid backbone, because you're going to fall. And when you do, you will be right back at the kitchen table. 2, speak up. I created the podcast called Empowering Conversations Podcast, what Meenakshi talked about. In it, we talk about immigrant struggles, their journeys, and what they have done to overcome them. You can speak up in your own way, at your own tables, about inequalities, about your salaries, about abusive behavior. You can speak up about them in your own smaller tables, in your friendly tables. But always know that you have a choice in leaving when nothing gets done. That is speaking up with your feet, speaking up with your actions. Never forget that. 3, don't limit yourself more than what the society, culture, and your gender do. With the help of a coach, therapist, mentor, and an ally or a sponsor, define your 3 to 5 year career goals. Identify what exactly you need to get there. What slows you down? In my experience, most of us suffer from perfectionism, rigid cultural beliefs, gender roles, many internal blocks, and often living in this survival mode, even though we can live in a thriving one. With support, learn to step outside of those boundaries with a smile. 4, give yourself permission to challenge your cultural beliefs. Ignore your invisible jurors. I know they are everywhere. They're in your communities, they're in your families, and they're even in your private lives. Let them go and choose the part of your culture that serves you. This needs to be conscious. Not know exactly what you stand for, and what you can let go. You have a choice. The path might be very lonely. I'll tell you that from personal experience. But many are waiting for a leader to step up, and you can be that leader. 5, expand your network of supportive individuals. I cannot emphasize this enough. They say it takes a village. It truly does. With the help of my community, I was able to build a long table for immigrant women during the pandemic. They were able to earn additional money during this very tough time. You can create bigger impacts when you get out of your communities and build your own villages too. You just need to get to work. From a Middle Eastern immigrant woman who only sat at her kitchen table, I became someone who led different tables. So if you are angry at what your family, your culture, and your society did to your life while you're sitting at your kitchen table, how about cutting the chains from that kitchen table and moving beyond those responsibilities to build newer, bigger, and better tables? And who knows, you may also find that your place could very well be at the head of that table. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank
Lots
you.
of sighs.
This is very
lots
kind.
of
I'm looking at the comments
Oh.
right now.
I am just moved. I'm trying to keep my makeup on over here. It's not easy. I see it, similar comments in the chat. At least it's not just me.
This is so awesome. I'm so glad that this resonated. It does. I think in this, we are all together as a community of women. And as it was, talked about during this valuable conference, we need to sponsor each other. We need to be each other's ally. We need to be the ladder for each other and hold it, right? We need to support one another. We need to learn how to present ourselves and how to basically show up authentically based on who we truly are. This was very valuable, and I felt as I was listening to your conversation, Tiffany and Meenakshi, I was like, I'm so glad that I chose these, because it also, reminds all of us that this is what is helpful for all of us, and they could follow suit. They could kind of learn from all you amazing women and the rest of the team. So thank you. Thank you.
My heart is full.
Yeah.
Thank you for this gift, Mehran.
Indeed. Thank you.
Ah,
Wow.
I'm just processing all of it, and it was just meant to happen because Mehran and I met, I don't know, a week before. Right, we were in the middle of the conference planning, Tiffany, and she had a spot that opened up on her podcast series, and that's how I did that. So the whole thing was planned and done in like 4 or 5 days. And when you agreed to do this for us, Mehran, so
It's an
I'm
honor.
just, yeah, likewise, and I'm just in awe of how all that happened. And one of the things that popped up for me from what you said, Mehran, Tiffany, I was thinking about what we are doing is we are building a big long table. That's what we're doing here.
Mhm.
And that's very powerful.
Yeah. Hard to wrap your head around.
So thank you so much, Mehran. Thank you. And I hope you're able to stay on. We have Jennifer joining us, and she's going to unlock LinkedIn